Well, our correspondent Sarah Morice joins us now live from London. Hi, Sarah. Walk us through quickly what might unfold today, especially with this new no-confidence vote looming. It just sounds like the opposition is adding more chaos to what is already a mess.
Yep, total shambles, Andrea. That's what today is all about, and probably yesterday and the next couple of days ahead of us. What we are going to see, though, in the next couple of hours is this no-confidence vote. Jeremy Corbyn, the opposition leader, has tabled the motion. The thing about it is it could be a little bit redundant because really it doesn't look like Theresa May and her government are going to lose this one. They probably have the numbers to survive. So that means really we're still nowhere different tomorrow that we are today, that we were yesterday. So we expect her, as I said, to survive that. The question really is what happens after that. She, supposing, is still the Prime Minister. She has to come up with a plan B, and that plan B has to be presented to Parliament here on Monday. Now, she's talking about going for some cross-party input here, asking the opposition MPs to help her come up with a plan B, something that the entire Parliament could perhaps get behind, or enough of them at least, that it could be passed and she could take that plan to the European Union. But to talk about more about what could happen next, I'm joined by Thom Brooks. Thom Brooks is Professor of Law and Government at Durham University. Tom, there's a couple of options, I guess, on the table. Theresa May seems to be looking for a deal, but the other options would be another referendum or perhaps a crash-out, no-deal Brexit. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, the first thing I would completely rule out is no deal, and I think that I would rule that out because there's been virtually no planning at all for some type of no-deal situation. And it really would be something close to calamitous on the borders, for people going back and forth, for customs. There's a lot of things that would need to be done, thousands of regulations checked or changed, and virtually none of that has happened. So I think that we can rule out. The Prime Minister said she doesn't want a general election. It seems the reason why is that she fears she would almost certainly lose, or at least at the current polls. So then that leaves two options. One is to try to reform this deal, this plan B you just mentioned, or going for a referendum. I think that trying to reform the plan will be very difficult. It'll be very difficult because it's unsure where members of Parliament can kind of coalesce, where they can kind of come together. You've got lots of different factions, but none of them equal 50% or more. And plus, making it more complicated is the European Union has said they will not open negotiations. So if the people over across the street decide to change this plan, they don't seem open to accepting it. It would require the EU to accept it. That then leaves a referendum, and I frankly think that's the best option, and it would be the option I would advise the Prime Minister to take for her own sake, because she's clearly not been able to win over her colleagues on her current plan. If there was a second referendum choice, her plan or remain. It would not split the Brexit vote. It would show whether or not the public backed it. If she won and came back to this place, I think that would change minds. People would support it. If, as many seem to suspect, the tide has turned in favor of Remain, then I think she could say, well, look, I was just trying to follow the will of people. Either way, the Prime Minister is not going to be there very long. If she wins tonight, she is not going to be staying on for many months, if not weeks.
Just quickly, if they do go for a second referendum, is there time to have it? I assume we'd have to delay Brexit?
We would certainly have to delay Brexit. There would be some amount of time in confirming the question with the Electoral Commission. There would be at least a short public consultation that would probably have to happen with that. And then there would be the election itself that would have to be at least a month. And so I think that all in all, we would be looking at least a delay of a month or two. If there was a second referendum, that would be it would take the EU's agreement to extend Article 50. That would be the kind of thing I think they would be open to, because it would not involve any change to the deal, and indeed might keep the UK inside the European Union. So I could see they would accept that. Delaying for another election or to reopen something, that I think you won't see any agreement there. So I think a referendum right now is the hot ticket in town.
Well, got the tip. Hot news here from us on TRT. Second referendum is what we're predicting, not us necessarily, but our guest here. Andrea, big stuff happening now in Parliament behind me. Prime Minister's questions. Obviously, she'll be facing a grilling, so no doubt we'll be back with you for more on what's going on there.
The party never stops, Sarah. Thanks so much for that. As always, live from London.